वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेष भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठकी। Hare Krishna, everyone. Hari Bol. Welcome to this daily class of the Bhagavad Gita. Today I speak from chapter 3, verse 34. Indriyasya Indriyasyarthe Raga Dveshau Vyavasthitau Tauhi Raga Dveshau Vyavasthitau Tayo Navasham Agachet Tauhi Asya Paripanthino Indriyasya Arthe Raga Dvesha Agachet Tauhi Asya Paripanthino Indriyasya Arthe Raga Dvesha Vyavasthito Tayo Navasham Agachet Tauhi Asya Paripanthino Indriyasya Arthe Raga Dvesha Vyavasthito Tayo Navasham Agaceta Tauhi Asya Paripanthino Indriyasya Arthe Raga Dvesha Vyavasthito Tayo Navasham Agachet Tauhi Asya Paripanthino Indriyasya Arthe Raga Dvesha Vyavasthito Tayorna Vasham Agachet Tauhi Asya Paripanthino Indriyasya Arthe Raga Dvesha Vyavasthito Tayorna Vasham Agachet Tauhi Asya Paripanthino of the senses. Indriyasya Arthe, in the sense objects. Raga, attachment. Dvesha, also detachment. Vyavasthitao, put under regulations. Tayoha, of them. Na, never. Vasham, control. Agachet, one should come. Tau, those. He, certainly. Asya, his. Paripanthinao, stumbling blocks. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. There are principles to regulate attachment and aversion pertaining to the senses and their objects. One should not come under the control of such attachment and aversion because they are stumbling blocks on the path of self-realization. Please repeat after me. There are principles to regulate attachment and aversion pertaining to the senses and their objects. One should not come under the control of such attachment and aversion because they are stumbling blocks on the path of self-realization. Perfect. Those who are in Krishna consciousness are naturally reluctant to engage in material sense gratification. But those who are not in such consciousness should follow the rules and regulations of the revealed scriptures. Unrestricted sense enjoyment is a necessity for the conditioned soul, and sex enjoyment is allowed under the license of marriage ties. According to scriptural injunctions, one is forbidden to engage in sex relationships with any women other than one's wife. All other women are to be considered as one's mother. But in spite of such injunctions, a man is still inclined to have sex relationships with other women. These propensities are to be curbed, otherwise they will be stumbling blocks on the path of self-realization. As long as the material body is there, the necessities of the material body are allowed, but under rules and regulations, and yet unattached to them, because practice of sense gratification under regulation may also lead one to go astray, as much as there is always the chance of an accident even on the royal roads. Although they may be very carefully maintained, no one can guarantee that there will be no danger even on the safest road. The sense enjoyment spirit has been current a very long time, owing to material association. Therefore, in spite of regulated sense enjoyment, there is every chance of falling down. Therefore, any attachment for regulated sense enjoyment is ultimately to become situated jnana timirandasya jnana jana shalakaya chakshuran militam yena tasmai shri guruve namah Shri Chaitanya manobishtam sthapitam yena bhutale swayam rupa kadamayam dadati swapadantikam vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupa Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padandu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vanchakalpatarubhya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nitama Hare Hare. So welcome everybody to this class for the two key qualifications: Shraddha, faith, and acquire perfect knowledge at first, even if you don't understand it. Do it. It requires sincerity and willingness to follow, and the understanding will come. There was once a person actually called me, and he told me, Krishna has told the Bhagavad Gita, but not everything is correct in the Bhagavad Gita. He actually told me on the phone that not everything is correct. There are some things that are okay, there are some things that are not correct. So I asked him, who are you? who are you? Somebody actually told me that, yeah? And I was very angry. I said, if anything, please don't say this. Please, you're committing very severe offenses by saying this. So somebody actually said, can you believe that? So, when we say here envy towards Krishna, it's not just a theory. It's there. It's fully there. And it's unbelievable that what people think. So I thought, let me just share that example. So when a person acts according to Krishna's instruction, his work is no longer ordinary karma. Becomes purified action. And gradually he becomes free from reactions. But this freedom depends on attitude. If one accepts with faith, liberation begins immediately. So the exact opposite of this was spoken in 3:32. Krishna then gives the opposite case. Those who reject his teachings out of envy, who do not follow his instructions, are described as bewildered and ruined. Their intelligence is finished. Even if someone appears learned, and a lot of these people appear learned, if he refuses to accept the authority of the Supreme Lord, his knowledge does not bring perfection. When one insists on independence from Krishna, he remains bound by material nature. So, faithful following, freedom. Envious rejection, continued bondage and bewilderment. Verse 3:33, the power of the conditioned nature. Krishna explains something more deeper now. Even a knowledgeable person acts according to his nature. All living beings are influenced by their conditioning under the material modes of nature. Simply repressing desires does not work. Yeah? So, Rishit Prabhu yesterday in his lecture mentioned people take advantage of this word, repression. So, avoid repression at all costs. That's completely out of context. Yeah? By repression, you don't say do all the desires and do all the sense gratification. No, absolutely not. What it says is divert your senses to the right thing. You cannot stop the gratification. So one may know what is right, but still feel pulled by the tendencies formed by past conditioning. So what does this mean? We have been here since time immemorial. We have been conditioned, and our subtle body has been changing the gross body infinite times. No one knows how many times. And those habits are coming with us. Those influences are coming with us. So artificial control and suppression cannot remove these deeply rooted inclinations. This is very realistic teaching. Knowledge alone is not enough. Purification is required. Prabhupada in the purport says, no one should suddenly give up his prescribed duties and become so-called yogi and do the all complete tyag, because he has externally done the tyag, but internally his mind is doing the gratification. So he is not pure in any way. In fact, it's worse. It is better to be situated in one's position and to try to attain Krishna consciousness under superior training from your spiritual master, from the sadhus. Thus one may be freed from the clutches of Krishna's Maya. So far in verses 3:31 to 33 of the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna has established three important truths. First, if we follow his instructions with faith and without envy, we become free from karma. Second, if we reject his authority, even with great knowledge, it cannot save us from this confusion and bondage. Third, even a person of knowledge is influenced by his conditioned nature. Simply repressing tendencies does not work. Now, a practical question arises. If knowledge is there, if instruction is there, even if faith is there, why do we all still struggle? Why are we all struggling? Why does a person who knows what is right yet feels pulled away towards what is wrong? Why does Arjuna hesitate even after hearing so much wisdom? Krishna now diagnoses the root cause. The real problem is not ignorance. The real problem is attachment and aversion, raga and dvesha, deeply rooted within our mind. This is the bimari, this is the disease. So in verse 3:34, Krishna will explain how these twin forces sit in our mind and constantly influence our choices. Unless we understand and regulate them properly, they can overpower even a knowledgeable person. So, Krishna has described how when it comes to the teachings of the Vedic scriptures, they are not followed by some people. Arjuna has a question. Why are they not following the scriptures? Because in the scripture itself, the punishments of not following the scriptures are mentioned. So, if they are not followed. So, Krishna explains that these people are being pulled by the three modes of material nature. So, Krishna here is explaining why we repeatedly fail in our good resolutions. Why do we know something is wrong and yet still do it? So, today I was driving on the bridge and I saw an advertisement, a big bottle of good. नीचे लिखा है, excessive consumption of alcohol is hazardous to your health. आप सोचिए, ये जरा समझिए, दारू बेच रहे हैं, बड़ा एडवर्टीजमेंट है, नीचे लिखा है excessive consumption of alcohol is adverse or hazardous to your health. तो ये क्या हुआ? ये बेच भी रहे और लिख भी रहे, ये आप लेओगे मरोगे। तो हो क्या रहा है भाई? ये तो समझ नहीं आ रहा है। यूके में आप जाओ तो बड़े सिगरेट के पैकेट में उधर गवर्नमेंट रूल्स निकालती है कि 60-70% पैकेट का एडवर्टीजमेंट होना चाहिए कि लंग कैंसर के पिक्चर है। So Krishna is talking about senses and the sense objects. It is stressing on the point that all senses need their corresponding sense object. So the eyes want form, the ears want sound, tongue wants taste, skin wants touch, nose become entangled by the sense objects. One who follows the rules and regulations. So many times people say, too many bondage by the material modes of nature. And as he progresses in Krishna consciousness, he will be completely free. He is liberated whilst living. In unrestricted sense, is unrestricted sense gratification. When someone follows the rules and regulations, he is relaxed. Three modes will not bind that person. So another example, amazing example Prabhupada is giving about sex enjoyment. He says sex enjoyment is a necessity for all conditioned soul and is allowed under the license of marriage ties. So our Vedic culture is based on the scriptures. Their life will be happy, peaceful, and satisfactory. So everything is in the scriptures. So this example of sex enjoyment, so the marriage or viva yagya, it actually helps to regulate the sense desires. If somebody has done that, he has taken an oath and he will have that enjoyment, sense enjoyment with his spouse, okay? But not with any other woman. Already that is regulating him. Doesn't mean that that's the absolute correct answer, no. Jai Shri Rukmani Dwarikadhish ki jai, Sita Ram Lakshman Bhaktan Mani ki jai, Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai, Shri Lakshmi Narasimha Shri Prabhupada ki jai. So look at what the Western culture is. We see in the Western countries, there is nothing called a bond between the husband and the wife. And we see unrestricted, illegal sense enjoyment spoils his consciousness. It is very important that it has to be regulated without conscience there. The necessities of the material body are allowed, but under rules and regulations. So we have sense, so it means the senses have to be satisfied by sense objects. The sense will get senses satisfied. So the question is how to keep them satisfied? By sense enjoyment? No. Because that is putting firewood in a fire, or how Prabhuji mentioned, putting ghee in fire. You feel that the fire has gone down, but now the bhadko will start. It will explode, right? So that is not the question. That is not the answer, sorry. These senses have to be slowly regulated. So we'll go to that in a little while. The point given here is that the body, till the body is there, fire will burn and he'll go crazy. And out of the science of self-realization. So Prabhupada says in the purport, one has to follow those rules and regulations. Now this is the catch. Unattached even to the rules and regulations. This is very clear. Accidents also happen on the royal roads. So we don't have to have attachment for these rules and regulations. In fact, we should not be attached for sense gratification. But even then, if someone takes advantage of these rules and regulations or enjoyment. If you take an example, if this was the case, then why is it we cannot enjoy in an unlimited way? Now here, I remember Hoshi Prabhu's amazing example in the youth class, Gulab Jambu. He loves gulab jamun. Mataji, please make for him. Huh? So the example was the three problems of material sense enjoyment. One, it's unattainable. Most people cannot attain, say, gulab jamun or whatever they like. Most 99% of the people in this world cannot get what they desire. So unattainable. Now say, if he has, how many gulab jamun will you eat? You love it so much. You eat one, the first one you'll enjoy the highest. Then it's a decreasing law of enjoyment or return, decreasing law of return, right? It goes down, down, down. By the time you reach your 5th gulab jamun or your 10th gulab jamun, you probably, if somebody even shows you, you will throw it out. Hatred, exactly. And the last one, unretainable. Those gulab jamun, even if they, oh, I will keep this and enjoy it for a month, they will not last a month. They will spoil. All of these are controlling us. So is this a blessing or a curse from God? It's a blessing. It's not a curse, it's a blessing. The reason is very simple, that we stop getting attached to that. We eventually realize, no, I don't want gulab jamun. And if anything, there's Mahesh Prabhu, there was a laddu he was given, he was forced to eat, like, 10 laddus in his 20, 30 years ago. And till today, if he sees that, he feels like throwing. Right? So this is what material enjoyment is. We cannot enjoy in an unlimited way. Okay? So if we are so much interested in sense gratification, and if our body is meant to do sense gratification, then why can we not do this in an unlimited way, as I said? So this is the proof that this body is meant to do is not meant to do unlimited sense gratification. This body is the vehicle with which we can go back home, back to Godhead. This body is meant to endeavor on the path of self-realization and nothing else. The Vedic scriptures tell us what is the limit, even when someone takes undue advantage and go on doing it unrestrictedly. So here a guru or a spiritual master is the one who makes sure that this person is kept under control. Prabhupada says, the sense enjoyment spirit owing to material association. Therefore, in spite of regulated sense enjoyment, there is every chance of falling down. Therefore, any attachment for the regulated sense enjoyment must also be avoided by all means. So this is a very important point Prabhupada is mentioning. This tendency of sense gratification has not come just now. It is there since very many lifetimes. We have also been doing sense gratification in all these lifetimes. The tendency is built, and as soon as we see any sense objects, we want to enjoy that immediately. So, the spiritual master will help us make sure these tendencies which are there are regulated and used in a proper way in service to Krishna. In this way, we see that because of the tendency of sense gratification that we have been carrying, there is a high probability of falling out of the path of Krishna consciousness or the path of self-realization. Now, high class, low class, rich, poor, educated, illiterate. The whole material world is running simply on the dual principle of raga, which is attachment, and dvesha, aversion. So what is the meaning of aversion? It took me a little while. I wanted to go deeper in this word aversion. Aversion dictionary meaning is a strong dislike or disinclination. A strong dislike or disinclination. So little bit easier way to understand. Somebody has deep-seated aversion to most forms of exercise. So exercise, when we talk about exercise, not today, today I've not slept so well, no, I'm a bit tired, I might do this, I need to do this. So there's all tricks of aversion to that. Even though you know that you got high blood pressure, so you need to do it, you got diabetes, you need to keep fit, and so on and so forth. It is only advantageous to do that exercise, but you are doing aversion to that exercise. So, Krishna says, Raga Dveshau Vyavasthitau. Attachment and aversion are already situated in relation to the mind. It's there, proper, set. I'm attached, I'm averting. That means they are already programmed into our conditioned nature. Our consciousness has been conditioned from previous lifetimes. We think, I am choosing this, but actually the conditioning is choosing it. We are not independent. Our past impressions, our habits, our conditioning, they are silently dictating our preferences. All those in the subtle mind, subtle body. The mind, that's where all of this is happening. Is bad. I know anger is harmful. I know overeating is unhealthy. I know scrolling endlessly on Facebook wastes time. But knowledge does not equal transformation. You still continue to do it. Because raga and dvesha, attachment and aversion, operate at the level of conditioning, not logic. This is why even Arjuna asked Krishna earlier, what is that force which impels one to do sinful acts even unwillingly? Because sometimes we act against our own intelligence. Our intelligence is saying, as I said, the whiskey bottle, and down it's saying excessive consumption is harmful to your health. Now we look for excuses. नहीं, excessive बोला है ना, मैं तो एक पैक लगाता हूँ. Right? So imagine, or the lung cancer photo, you know this is the problem. Or Mawa. So many people in Mombasa have got mouth cancer. So many. And all those people, who is eating Mawa, they know slowly they cannot open their mouth. The mouth opening gets restricted and they're getting problem. But he cannot stop. He cannot stop. He's attached. So, Srila Prabhupada says, material existence means acting under compulsion. Now suppose for a male, the illicit activity is seeing some female who is not his wife. He has a extramarital relation. Now when he's doing that, he is enjoying. He therefore gets attached. Now say for example, his friend or his father or somebody says, this is obstructing this gratification. He will have hatred towards this person. That's called aversion. He will avoid that person. He will bypass him. He will hate him. Because they are saying the right thing, but he is attached. That's aversion. So, like this we understand that whatever goal we have, the goal of sense gratification, when someone helps to get that goal of sense gratification, we get attached to that person. This is very good man. He's buying me whiskey, he's doing this, he's doing that, he's taking me out. Very good, very nice. But when we cannot attain that goal of sense gratification, because of someone or something, we start developing hatred, aversion towards that object or person. So this is attachment and aversion pertaining to the sense objects, senses and sense gratification. Now Krishna gives another instruction. Tayorna vasham agachet. Do not come under their control. Notice, Krishna is not saying destroy the senses. He is not saying become artificial. He is not saying suppress your senses. He's not saying that. He is saying do not come under their control. So senses are always going to be there, but do not come under the control of attachment and aversion. That means let the senses exist, but do not let them become your master. Because right now in conditioned life, we are not the driver, we are only the passenger. And the senses are the driving vehicle. Krishna concludes, Taui asya paripanithau. They are enemies at attachment and aversion. Attachment makes us run away. No, we know this is very good for us. And we run towards comfort, sense gratification, distraction, ego-feeding situations. Why? Raga. A practical example, that is dvesha towards tapasya, aversion. But now, suppose the alarm rings again at 4 a.m. to catch a flight for a holiday. Oh, somebody wake up even before the alarm. No alarm, no need. He'll wake up and he'll be in a very happy mood. Now I'm going to enjoy attachment. That's attachment. So raga towards sense enjoyment. So problem is not the early morning. The problem is the attachment and aversion. Okay, so we've identified the problem. What is the solution? Regulation is the solution. Krishna says, regulate, do not repress. ISKCON lifestyle is built exactly on this principle. Regulated eating, prasadam, regulated sleeping, regulated work, regulated recreation, regulated sex life through marriage. Because senses cannot be killed, but they can be purified. Huh? To be trained for the right thing. So we keep that under control, and that needs practice. Slowly, gradually. You need to meet like-minded people, be within them. If you sit next to a liquor drinker or an alcoholic, you say, no, I don't drink. You will eventually start drinking. And not normal pack, patiala packs. You sit next to a gambler, he will make you gamble. You sit next to a thief, he will make you steal. Right? If you sit next to a womanizer, he will make you a womanizer. You sit next to a devotee or a sadhu, he will make you a devotee. That is guaranteed. Because you are seeing it, you are learning from habits. You are looking, the conversation with a devotee will always go round and round. Oh, hello, hi, chodo, or Krishna ki baat karo. It will come there. So Prabhupada says, attachment to Krishna consciousness or acting always in the loving service of Krishna detaches one from all kinds of sensory activities. So what are we supposed to do? We have to get the attachment for Krishna. Attachment for Krishna's service. Attachment to the name, fame, qualities and pastimes of Krishna. We need attachment to all these transcendental qualities of the Lord. When we get the attachment to the Lord, automatically the other attachments will be removed completely. I can give you a personal, practical example. But I would go to all the Mombasa, prominent restaurants in Mombasa. I used to know the waiters' names. Robert, Letayo, Nini. I used to know all their names, everything. Okay? Saturday was dining out for me. When I joined ISKCON, nobody told me not to go to any restaurant. Nobody gave me these instructions. But slowly, gradually, in fact, when I started, Saturday became a problem. Because I used to say, Hoshi Prabhu, Saturday is our dining out day. So in 2 months, that stopped. Then Friday became a problem. No, Friday, we cook outside and, we enjoy. So that became a problem. All those problems sorted out. I don't even know how. Reason? The attachment. Reason? That slow, gradual practice of Krishna consciousness. I had no mood to go. No, I don't want to go. I'm not interested. So from eating to live, living to eat, I became eating to live. I just want to eat fatafat so that I go quickly to the temple. Nobody told me that. That came from within. So that's my personal example. So what should we be detached from? Prabhupada says in the purport, one should never try to be detached from Krishna consciousness at any stage of your life. So what shouldn't we get detached from? Krishna consciousness. We can get detached from anything else, no problem. But not Krishna consciousness, not bhakti. Finally, Prabhupada says, the whole purpose of detachment from all kinds of sense attachment is ultimately to become situated on the platform of Krishna consciousness. Now, this is very important. You can say, okay, I've tagged this, everything, but you have not got into Krishna, you have not gone into bhakti. That is whimsical, that's nonsense. There's nothing there. You're going to fall and you're going to fall worse. Because, as I said, externally you are showing you're a tyagi or a renunciate. But internally, you are looking at everything and enjoying within your mind. Pretender. What's it called? Probably someone has to get detached from sense gratification. This is only for one thing, to come to the platform of Krishna consciousness. No other. Because you are doing halfway. That no, I don't do sense gratification. But you stop there. Now, come and connect that to Krishna consciousness. That is the only way, meaningful way, there is no other. So from raga to ruchi, material attachment binds, spiritual attachment liberates. Become attached to the holy name, deity worship, kirtan, prasadam, bhagavad, Srimad Bhagavatam. Senses engaged in Krishna's service become spiritualized. So these regulations given in the Shastra, one such regulation is that one should approach a saintly person and take guidance from a sadhu, from your spiritual master, and execute the same. But what happens is a person starts developing attachment to the Vedic scriptures and its injunctions. So in this way, when one develops attachment to these injunctions and if senses become instruments of liberation. The tongue that once demanded intoxication can now chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shrimad Granth Raj, Bhagavad Gita की जय, शिला प्रभुपाद की जय. Perfect.